Hello, welcome to our new series on the UK's general election, due to take place on June the 8th. So Theresa May's Conservative continue to enjoy a comfortable lead in the polls. Jeremy Corbyn's Labour, meanwhile, they have been tipped to lose significant numbers. Well, Marc Ostwald from ADM Investments is here with me now to discuss where we are with this election. It seems like it's a dead set that Theresa May is going to win this.
It certainly appears so. I mean, the commanding lead that the Conservative Party has, estimated anywhere between 18 and 20%. And indeed, the local elections, which we had overnight, seeing the Conservatives making significant gains in terms of the amount of council seats, while Labour lost, and even the Lib Dems have lost, all point to a fairly big victory for Theresa May in June. And I think it's heavily discounted in markets. But at the end of the day, what we really need to know, what will be interesting is how, as we go through the election, whether we can actually move away from a single issue discussion, which at the moment it's all about Brexit.
Does it give her a stronger position then?
It would in theory, yes, and it would certainly allow her to ignore the very far right of the Conservative Party, who might be quite disruptive. And make demands for a very hard Brexit, which people really don't like the look of.
As soon as you say that, the markets plummet.
Yes, exactly. I mean, there is a fear that it would be very hard, and perhaps there might not be any agreement at all, which would be very, very negative.
But she said no agreement's better than a bad agreement. Do you agree with that?
I don't think that's actually necessarily true. There are certain areas, and I think for the British economy, which are absolutely critical that there is some form of agreement. First of all, agriculture, particularly for the regions like Northern Ireland, for Wales, for Cornwall. The motor sector. Extraordinarily important given the amount of foreign producers that are in the UK. Basically, pretty much every car made in the UK is made by a foreign producer. If they feel like the terms for exporting to Europe from the UK are really going to be rather unfavourable, that could have a very damaging consequence.
And what do you think about this beating of chests this week that we've had between the UK and the EU leaders?
I suppose it was, to a certain degree, inevitable, given the long history of tensions between the UK and Brussels particularly. It's to be hoped that David Davis, the Brexit Secretary, can instill some calm in the situation. He was certainly very calm when he spoke on Wednesday. He was trying to talk a lot of sense about, look, let's just sit down and talk about this rather than confronting each other with demands about you need to do this and we need to do that and we want this. So it's really how it's run diplomatically. The real problem here in the UK is the UK has ceded a lot of its trade negotiations to Brussels when it joined the EU, because it's a bloc. So there's a certain degree of lack of experience, and that could prove to be rather worrying, particularly if Mrs May feels like her hand's been strengthened with a big election win and she starts to think that gives her a stronger bargaining position. It doesn't really make any difference to her bargaining position, because it's really about everyone's, people trying to reach a compromise about which is in the collective best interest.
And that's exactly what the EU's point is, isn't it? Actually, this election isn't going to change our negotiating. A deal is a deal. Do you think a divorce is ever amicable?
I think it can be. I don't see why not. There's a long, Britain has always had a long history of relationship with Europe. It's really how it's dealt with, and it would be not good. If you look at the history of 1948 to 1973 and what happened to British trade, particularly with a country like Germany, when Britain decided not to join the original common market back in 1951, there was just a long decline, and that's really what the worry is, if there is actually no proper deal.
OK, well, let's hope there is. Marc Ostwald, thank you very much indeed. The first of our UK general election series here on IGTV. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.